Hello, my good people. How we doing today? What's happening? What's happening? It's the weekend. I hope everybody's excited for the weekend. I know everyone had a long week. I hope it was a prosperous week. I hope it was a productive week. I hope everyone got to what they needed to get to. But if you didn't, you got next week. Or if you better off, you better haul ass on Friday. You know what I'm saying? But how y'all doing? Y'all already know who you rocking with. You rocking with your boy Chef G, and we are here on Flavors, Techniques, and Styles. Just wanted to talk to you guys before today's video. I wanted to get into some things. So today we're going to be butchering a whole chicken into 8 pieces, maybe even more. I might even surprise y'all today and give y'all a little something extra. But we already went through in the middle of the week. We talked about knives, different kinds of knives, chef knives, butcher knives, boning knives. You got even paring knives, the little small ones that you just want to use for when you're doing supremes and when you're skinning a peeling an apple or whatever you want to do with it. But today, like I said, we're going to get into doing something that's very, very much needed for home cooks to know. And even if you do know, but you're a little lazy, but it's okay. It's all right to be lazy because sometimes you have a busy week. You got kids, you got a husband, you got a girlfriend, you got a girlfriend that's got a girl. Hey, whatever you do, whatever floats your boat. You know what I'm saying? I understand sometimes, coming home and doing things late can be a bit of a hassle when you're tired, when you've been on your feet for about 12 to 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? You just want to get home and make sure you just have something simple to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to break down a whole chicken into 8 ways, okay? And we're going to be using boning knives today. Boning knives. All right. This boning knife, I'm going to be using this because it's a little bit more sturdier. It's flexible, but it's not as flexible as a fish boning knife. The one I've showed you guys before, that's good for big fish like halibut, like monkfish, like cod, like salmon. You know, those big fish that you get that look like sea monsters. That's what this is for because it's flexible. It gets you through, it just slithers through bones, it just goes through carcasses, it goes through that core, it gets all the nooks and crannies that you need, as opposed to where a chef knife wouldn't take you. Okay, so this is the importance of why I say sometimes it's best, even though you always down to use that kitchen knife, that big old chef knife, you know always want to use this right here, but sometimes this don't get the job done. So we're going to talk about some different ways of using this boning knife today. So like I said, we're going to be boning a chicken. Okay, I got about anywhere roughly between a 5 to 6 pound chicken. Okay, and we're going to fillet this whole thing, and we're going to show you why it's important that when you're bringing home whole items, how much of a plus you're getting for when you're doing that. Okay, like seriously, just think about this. When you go to the butcher, they just have it already cut for you. You don't have any other thing that you can use from the scrap of that. And that's what I also want to teach you: scraps. What's important about scraps? Now, when you're using a whole chicken, now you got to think about it. There's a carcass, you know, now it depends on if you get the whole chicken fresh with the feet on and everything attached, and you got everything, but you got everything with the head included. I mean, hey, if you bout that, I'm about it. I mean, I've butchered a lot of things. I butchered things that come whole where we really got to break it down all the way, picking it down to the feathers, you know. And those are things that some people that just don't like doing. It's too much of a mess. It's too much of a hassle. But you have no idea how much you're getting from that product when you're actually butchering it yourself. So we're going to talk about the cuts. We're going to talk about what you can save, what you can use when you're actually doing these breaking downs of these animals. Okay, it's very important. I think we're gonna have a little fun with this one because, like I said, it's very knowledgeable for you to know what you can do with certain parts of the animal. Not just take the animal, break it down, or just have it broken down and then discard of everything else. You discard it, I might want to slap you. Like seriously, like as a chef, we do not do that. So, like I said, we're going to be using boning knives. Like normally when I'm doing a breakdown of an animal, I always try to, depend on what the animal is, it lets me know what knife I'm going to use. Like if I was to break down like a half of a calf of a beef, I'm pulling this joint out. I'm pulling out the big cleaver. It's a little heavy. It's about anywhere between 6 to 7, about 65 pounds. It's got some weight on it and it has some velocity. Like this thing is like a hammer. So it's going through bone. This is exactly what this is for. So this is why I say it's important to know what knives that you're actually using. So strap in. Y'all already know the look. Strap in. Let's get ready to have some fun. breaking down some chickens. I think we're gonna have a blast with this one, and this is gonna even teach you more about what you want to do going into the future when you're buying animals. You know what I'm saying? So let's get down, let's get busy, and let's get to it. You already know who you rocking with, Chef G on flavors, techniques, and styles. Okay, family, as you see, we got a nice little bird here. All right, nice little bird. So with this bird, this is what comes with the bird. The whole bird is attached with two breasts. Okay, all right. You have two wings. Okay, you have a leg, two legs, and right here on its hind side, right here on the back, are the two thigh bones. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna extract this thing. We're gonna detach all the meat and the flesh from off this bone, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna break this down. Now, most people they start with the legs. They start with the incision here, and then start here. Okay. Now we can do that, but I want to show you guys my way. So we're gonna turn this chicken to me. Okay. And now, as you see, the wings are there. We could start with the wings, but what I want to do mostly right now is really show you what it looks like when you turn it from a whole chicken to a half a chicken. So right here, down this part of the chest is what we call the bone, which is basically the sternum of the chicken. So that's where you want to start. So you want to place this knife right here where this bone is, but you want to find the flesh. So as you see right here, we're gonna start right down this breastbone. There's a wishbone right in between here. Now that bone, you're gonna feel that bone when you hit right here. That lets you know, as you see right here in the breast, that's gonna let you know to come away from that bone right there, and you come straight down. When you come straight down, you're gonna see now you're exposed to nothing but this flesh. So let's come straight here. Now we're gonna just literally stay right on the bone. Okay, stay right on the bone, right on the bone. Here's a joint right here that connects to the actual wing bone, okay? But like I said, I want to show you what it looks like to do half a chicken. So remember, we're staying on that bone, okay? So we're peeling back the flesh, and we're just staying right there. And you see as we open up, here is your wing bone. Go right through that, cut straight down. There you go. And now you have basically taken your chicken and you separated the bone, the actual chicken breast from the actual carcass. So now we're going to keep going. And now we're going to take this. And now this right here is a whole bunch of membrane. Now, come through all this membrane, this fat. Now, remember that leg part we talked about? Now, see, now that you see it, now you can just take it, pull it out, and you're going to hear the thigh bone come out. Just like so. So now you see this is where the thigh bone rests, where the oyster is, which is a small little piece of meat that's there. So what we're going to do is we just want to cut this thigh right off this right here. So as we go, stay on that bone to get that thigh. If you can't see it, always turn it over for yourself. And here you go. You can get it a lot better. So basically you're going around this right here and you're just cutting this right off. And there you go. Now this is a full half a chicken. Okay, so as you see, no, not, you don't have a lot of meat there. Okay, you don't want, this is a part of that oyster that I was talking about that we cut out. Now you can cut this out because it's a nice piece of meat where you can use. Okay, but like I said, you see that there's not a minimal flesh here. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. So once you have that side, we're gonna do the same to this side. So of course, you already see where you can go for where the bone is. This is where that bone is. This is where that knife stays. Come across that flesh right there. Wing it apart if you need to. Flip it around. Okay? Now, see the carcass? You just keeping that bone, keeping that knife right on that bone, because remember, we don't want to get rid of any flesh on this bone, on this carcass. Okay? So here we go with the membrane here. Extracurricular activity. So remember, here's your thigh. Pop it out. There it is. Now you just take your knife, go around, glide it on out. Glide it on out. Glide it on out. There's your chicken joint bone where the wing is. And that should come smooth off just like this. Okay, guys, this is your carcass. Here's your backbone. Here are the two oysters right here. We can carve that out. And here is actually the actual spine and the chest cavity of the carcass. This right here is very important that you don't get rid of. You save this. Okay? Now, let's start here. So we got, you see all this excess fat? You really don't want that. Get rid of that. Put that to the side because we still can use that. Now, here, right here, chicken tender. This is the tender. All right? So we got a tender off there. Plus, we still have half a chicken. Let's get the tender off the other side. Now, these are your chicken tenders that kids love to eat. 2 chicken tenders there. Okay? Now, here's your joint for your chicken wing. All you want to do is go around this joint. Okay? Just like so. You have a wing there. Same thing. Here's your joint. You see it right there. Go around the wing here. 2 wings there. All right? Now, let's just split this right here. Okay? Chicken breast right there. There you go. See? Skin on chicken breast. Here we go. Just take your knife. Clean cut. Okay? Now you have 2 chicken breasts here. Okay? So we got a carcass, some cartilage. All right? We got 2 wings. We got 2 breasts. Now we have 2 legs, right? And a thigh. So what we want to do is, let's flip this over. Now, there's a line right here that lets you know normally. This is where you're going to be cutting to get this joint from the thigh and the leg. Okay? We got some access here. This right here I will cut off. And the reason why I cut this off, because I saved that because we use that for actual stock. Okay? So then right here, like I said, you have 2 legs, right? But this is what we're going to do with one of them. Here's the element of surprise, what I want to show you guys real quick. So let's say you want to take this. Let's first break it down. So like I said, thigh bone, leg, just follow that line. There you go. You have a leg, and now you have a thigh. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you guys a little something extra right here. So I showed you the leg and the thigh, and here we have it right here. Now, what if you want to take this whole thing out and debone this? Okay, here you go. We'll start with something like this. So you take the chicken, make sure the skin is pretty good. You feel that bone. You feel for it. You find out where it's at. So right here, you know it's right there on top of that. So you just take your blade and go right down that bone. Stay right there so you can open up that flesh, and now you see the rest of the bone. Okay? With that being said, now you see it, so now you just stay on that bone and go around that bone, but stay right there on it. You don't want to go too far, so now you've dug a well. Now with that well, that gives you time to go underneath this bone, take this cartilage and this piece of this joint and come underneath, and then you'll have a boneless chicken thigh. But let's not stop there. So now we know that we want to get that bone, but we also want to get that chicken leg, right? So you stay on the bone the same way you just stayed on the bone with that thigh. You just go clean down, nice clean cut. Now you see the bone. Now you separate your meat by staying on that bone, and now you go down. So you see how now you only have this flesh you want to remove? You want to remove this. This helps you get to that actual opening of now you have an open whole jointed bone. So you can go easy way, and you can just cut the bone here right where the joint snaps, and you can debone that part, and then you could do that. Me, since we already know what we're doing here, we're going to go underneath this bone, as you see right here. Go underneath this flesh, come up, go through the cartilage, and come around. Now, you're going to see a 2-piece bone here. You're going to come up. You're going to just push this down just a bit until you get to that actual joint knuckle. Now that you see that joint knuckle, everyone see this knuckle now? So now you see the whole knuckle in the joint. So here, you can make it easy for yourself. Just go right through that, break it off. Okay? Break that smooth off, come underneath. And now as you see this joint right here, you've broken it off. So now you find the rest of the joint underneath the chicken, and you just come around, come around, come around, and come around. Bone. You want this bone? This bone is going to be stock. Okay? So now you have a thigh that's released. But now remember, we still have the edge of this bone. Go underneath, just smoothly underneath like this. Come all the way up as you're staying on top of the cartilage. You don't want to take too much flesh. Okay? Let the knife do the work. And then you come here. You can always flip this meat just like this so you can be safe. You find your cartilage, you get around it, you stay on that bone, lift it out, stay on the cartilage. Now you have another bone. Okay? Now this is what you call a boneless chicken leg and thigh. Okay? This is good for what? What did we do with this before? We pounded it and stuffed it and made a roulade. Remember, guys, that's how you get that done. So now you have a boneless chicken leg and thigh. You have a actual chicken leg, a thigh, and you have two breasts, two wings. You have two beautiful tenderloins and a carcass and bone. Super easy, super simple, you know. I hope I didn't move too fast for you guys with that. If you have any questions, please leave comments. Uh, but that's why I told you guys it's important to know what you're doing when you're breaking down things. You get more yield. Like a lot of people wouldn't have possibly remember or known if you're not a cook where that tenderloin is, where they make chicken strips. You know, you don't just take chicken breast and slice it and then that's what they call the basic tenderloin, but no, that's a chicken strip. But the tenderloins are the two pieces that's underneath the actual breast. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that breakdown, understanding what's important when you're actually breaking things down, why it's important not to throw everything away. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, guys, be careful with your knives, and also remember you are rocking with Chef G on flavors, techniques, and styles. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. Practice, practice, practice. Peace.